All right. Hello. Today, I'm going to do something not at all surprising, but with a bit of a twist. I've been doing a bunch of cosplay or costume type of outfits recently. And today I'm going to do what has to probably be one of my favorite forms of dressing up, which is what I call an everyday cosplay, which is basically it's like a stealth cosplay. So today, like I said, we're going to be doing a everyday cosplay, and it's going to feature material that you've seen before. This guy, for those of you who watched my Isabel Lightwood video, that was the denim jumpsuit that I put together. This was the material that I had initially for that. And if you remember, I had a bit of a light bulb moment. I would go as far as to say this is actually shirting material, which, well, I have a use for this now. Maybe. I might have a new use for this. I guess it makes sense that I had the epiphany while I was working on Isabel, because this is the perfect material for something that her brother wore a couple of times. So, Alec Lightwood is probably my favorite character in the series. I watched the TV show for the first time in, I think it was September 2020, and it's really stuck with me because it was good. Like, the parts that I liked, and then there were other parts where I'm like, fast forward, please. But we're not talking about that right now. What I'm talking about is this shirt that he wears. This shirt is one of my favorites. It's really simple. It's really simple. It was when I decided that I was gonna do this, and then I looked more into it, and I'm like, oh, this is a little bit more complicated than I was thinking. I love it because from what I saw, he wore it more than once. And that's, I guess, a pet peeve I have of TV shows not reusing outfits, particularly if it doesn't make sense for the characters. So in TV shows like Succession or Dallas or Gossip Girl, or basically any TV show that has rich characters in the fashion industry, stuff like that, it kind of makes sense for them to not rewear outfits. But when you have a TV show like, I don't know, like I don't Teen Wolf, where they talk about their financial problems. Theoretically, it doesn't make any sense in a TV show like Shadowhunters for them to be worried about repeating outfits. I don't think that the girls really repeat outfits, but it's kind of a fantasy, and we don't know anything about money in the system. We don't know how it works. We don't know anything. Um, we get little bits and pieces. Like at one point, I think that we find out that none of them know how to drive. Like none of the like trio know how to drive. I don't even know if we know that. We just know that Jace gets in an accident. Can you call it an accident if you just run into a light pole? That's whatever. I'm really glad that they repeated the outfits. And there are easy ways to repeat outfits without it being very obvious, and I'm really annoyed at shows that don't employ those. So we're doing this. It doesn't look quite that complicated, right? But then you look a little bit closer and you're like, oh, okay, so He has specifically metal buttons, and it's a very, like, it's fitted without being tight. The sleeves specifically, I don't think you ever see it with the sleeves rolled down. Anyway, the most complicated part that I saw was, first of all, he has pockets, which I'm mixed on, because for me, the more pockets, the better. I'm such a huge fan of pockets. However, pockets that don't make sense. Having chest pockets seem kind of, I don't know. I don't really know how to feel about them, because on one hand, like I said, more pockets the better. However, if you try putting something in those pockets, it's not gonna look great, especially for a female. If you put like your keys or something in there, it's gonna be this weird protrusion, but that's it is what it is. We're gonna do it because that's what the costume shows. I'm probably just gonna not end up using those pockets. However, if you'll notice on the I guess it looks like it's the left-hand side. If you look just above the pocket, there's a zipper. And it took me a minute to notice that, and I'm like, there are 3 pockets in this shirt. There is an additional pocket I'm gonna have to put in. I'm just trying to figure out right now how big of a pocket I want it to be, because typically pockets like that aren't very big. So maybe big enough for like a lip balm or roll of quarters or something like that. Something small that will go above the other pocket. Not looking forward to that, but it's something that I'm gonna have to do. The zipper that I got was a 4-inch, so it's 4 inches, and it's a metal zipper, because specifically the one that he has is a silver metal zipper, and the buttons that he has are either a gray or a silver metal buttons. And it was very important for me to be able to find the silver specifically. It was kind of hard because a lot of zippers that are metal are going to be that gold color, the ones that you see on jeans, you know. The pattern I will be using is simplicity, but I mean, like most of the things that I do / have done / will ever do probably, I'm not going to follow it exactly, and I'm going to mix parts of it up anyway. So the pattern that I'm using is Simplicity 1538, and it's this guy right here. Specifically using D for the most part, but I will be using the pocket covers from A. I think I'm going to make the sleeves a little bit longer because the sleeves are never long enough. I'm going to be using the cuffs from these guys because these ones seem a bit too small, and I like bigger ones, and you're not going to see it anyway because it's going to be rolled up. I'm also going to be taking out some of the volume in these sleeves. If I make it skin tight, it is going to be very hard to roll up the sleeves, to be able to push it at any point along this, because obviously this is a lot smaller than this. In a little bit you will see the buttons, and when it comes in you'll see the zipper. Okay, so here are all of the pieces that I have to work with. Everything's been cut out and kind of put in its own pile, folded relatively nicely. So here we are. Oh, and then as promised, I have the buttons. So these are the buttons that I'm going to be using for the front, like down the center. They're nice, they're metal, and they aren't like a bright silver, they're a more burnished. I'm rethinking what I had in mind because I had these ones, I was going to use them down the front, and then I was going to use these ones for the cuffs pockets. But now I'm thinking these ones are a lot brighter. They are still metal, but they don't really go. So I'm thinking I might take these back and exchange them for more of these. Our next step is pinning. We have the shoulder piece on both of them pinned. And then I also pinned the back yoke to the back piece. And what I did is a little bit different from the instructions. Is anyone surprised? Okay, so right here, the instruction, this is the back piece, and this is the yoke. So to attach both of them, you need to line up the darts right here. They're not called darts, I forgot what they're called, but they're little pokey bits that are supposed to help you line up the fabrics together. In between the two, you are supposed to gather this section right here, and then just stitch the rest. And actually, these are stay stitches right here. I don't like that. I don't like the way that that looks. So instead, I've decided this is these are the triangle bits that are supposed to match up. This is the middle part that it wants me to gather. I don't want to gather it, so I put a pleat. This is what it looks on the inside, and this is how it's going to look on the outside. Of course, it's upside down, but there is just a single pleat in the back, as opposed to gathering. And then I have also pinned several parts. All right, so this is the second yoke to make everything look a lot more clean. And I have it pinned down along both shoulder parts and then also along the bottom part where it will attach to this as well. I have pinned all of these down, and then also the pockets I've pinned because I'm going to go ahead and iron them. So I will go ahead and iron them down real quick, and then I'll take all of the pins out, and once the pins are out, I'll be able to stitch along this line and along this line right here, so that on the outside it'll have that nice clean line across the top that you won't see because we have this part that's gonna overlap it. It's gonna be the flap right here. I know it's kind of hard to see this, but this is, I'm currently working on the collar. I did something that I don't normally do, and that is I added the neckband. I don't normally do the neckband. I typically just take the collar and attach it to the shirt, to the back of the shirt. But this time I decided, well, why not? Let's go ahead and add the neckband. And the neckband is this part right here. I don't know if that's really something that you can see very well, but this part right here. Don't normally do that because it's just another step that I get annoyed with. But I did it this time, and I hope it turns out well. There is interfacing inside of the collar to stiffen it a bit. There will also be interfacing in the cuffs shirt. Honestly, it's it's almost done. So it does still need sleeves. I have the sleeves cut out, but I'm still trying to decide how baggy I want them to be, like how closely fitted I want them to be. I had to make darts, of course, because I have a little bit more in my chest than the character of Alec Lightwood. I'm going to take this guy and match up the triangles, and I believe actually that these two, oh no, I don't know. Oh, okay, so this one right here and this one right here will match up, and then this one and this one will match up. So I will pin it like this, and also this part first, and then I'll pin this one. Oh, lordy. I don't know exactly how I'm going to do this, but when I get it figured out, I will let you know. Alright, so here is where we are right now. I have attached the collar, which was a lot more complicated than I've done it in the past, but that's probably a good thing because typically I don't do a neckband, which is what I did right here. Oh, if only I don't have enough hands for this. So there's the collar part, and then there's the neckband, and then there's the actual shirt. And I normally just get rid of the neckband in general. I haven't quite started on the sleeves yet. Wish there was a way I could do this with a third hand or something. Oh, this pocket is probably going to go a little closer to the binding or something than this one. No, it needs to be even, so they'll both go a little bit closer to the buttons than they probably are on the original shirt, but that's okay because that's a shirt made for someone who is completely differently shaped than I am. So we'll make it work. I also need to make the the pocket part of the pocket. I do need to do buttons and buttonholes. I need to decide which side's going to be which. Do I want to do it like a male shirt, or do I want to do it like a female shirt? So I have a couple of pins holding this together so that I can see where I actually want things to go. And I'm going to put another one here because I want to avoid gapping. The more I think about it, the more I'm not so sure that his pockets weren't triangular than straight across like I have them. As you can see, I have attached the sleeves, so now I'm working on placing the buttons. I'm just marking roughly where I want them to go. I'm trying to make sure that I have enough room for at least 8, and that wherever I place them, there will be no weird bunching or pulling. Alright, so after vaguely placing everything in the mirror, marking out where it goes in the mirror, I measured from the topmost button, where I wanted the topmost button, to where I wanted the bottommost button, and then divided that by 8 because I have a total of 12 buttons. I need 1 on each of the pockets. 2 would be ideal for the cuffs, but I only have enough for 1, so I'll probably do like right up here and then get more buttons and do 1 right here. So I measured on both sides, like I did the one side first and I lined it up with this as I was marking. I was making sure that everything lined up properly. It is a bit unfortunate that Alec is more flat-chested than I am, so the space between here and here, right here, is where gapping would occur, which is unfortunate. This is taking a lot more time than I thought it would. 1 down, 7 to go. Now, I really wish that I had been timing myself because I'm done with all 8 of the buttons down the front, the 2 that are on the side, and I've also marked where those go and where the holes will go when I get there. I've only done 1 of the buttons because I'm going to wait until I get the zipper on the other side before I even start with that. Okay, so that didn't take nearly as long as I thought it would, but that's only because I did this one and this one by hand, and then every other one I got annoyed, so I figured out finally after I think it's been 8 years that I've had this particular sewing machine. I figured out how to finally use the the buttonhole sewer, which I am kind of dubious about because I have a lot of loose strings now. But that didn't take, like I said, as long as I thought it would. So this is me trying to be Alec. I'm doing such a great job. I'm amazing at this, looking annoyed and angry and with a jacket. But here's another look. You can go a little bit more casual with the double denim look. Lighter on the bottom always makes it more casual in my opinion. Here's another one. Is a slightly more dressed up look with high-waisted trousers with suspenders. And if you undo like the top button or two, it makes it casual as well. I do have a couple of things I want to fix, like the cuffs. I think I need to add another button still. And since the buttons come in 4-packs, I think I'm going to add a little epaulette on the side, on the shoulder, and that would be the other buttons. Thank you for joining me. Have a great day. Bye.